Good evening friends, I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 14th February 2024. Here are the list of articles which we are going to discuss today. Let us get into discussion. Look at this news article. This news article talks about autoimmune diseases and explains why women are more susceptible to this disease rather than men. See, we know that in recent times, several international celebrities have spoken about their diagnosis and the struggles with autoimmune diseases. Strangely, majority of these celebrities are women. Now, a group of scientists have found a phenomenon which may be a reason behind it. They found that a molecular coating which is found in the X chromosomes of women might well be the reason behind this phenomenon. See, this is the crux of the article. With this news, let us understand about autoimmune diseases and the reason behind it from our prelims perspective. Okay, first of all, what is autoimmune diseases? See, generally the body's immune system protects us against the illnesses and infections. However, when the immune system got damaged, it wrongly targets the healthy cells, tissues and organs for assault. These types of diseases are called autoimmune diseases. See, there are more than 80 autoimmune diseases. Some of the well-known are type 1 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. Research shows that about 10% of the people have autoimmune diseases, with women being more affected compared to men. So, why are women getting affected? Scientists have been trying for a long time to figure out this. We all know that women have 2 X chromosomes while men have 1 X and 1 Y chromosomes. A recent discovery suggests that a molecular coating on the X chromosome could be a key factor in the higher rate of autoimmune diseases amongst the women. Now, let us see the process which is involved. See, this disease involves a process called X chromosome inactivation. Here, out of 2 sets of chromosomes in the female body, one got inactivated. This is done by a long strand of RNA which is also called XIST or XIST. Know that it is found in the molecular coating on a X chromosome. This XIST attracts proteins and silences the expression of the gene which is inside it. Since it is expressed only in cells with 2 X chromosome, women are more susceptible to autoimmune diseases and their attacks. However, note that not all the genes on the X chromosomes got silenced. Those that remain active might trigger the autoimmune diseases. So in conclusion, we can say that the presence of 2 X chromosome and the behavior of cyst RNA in women make them more prone to autoimmune diseases. See, understanding this mechanism in a better way could improve the early detection and treatment of this disease amongst the women. See, this is all about the discussion. In our discussion today, we saw about the basics of autoimmune diseases and we also saw about a phenomenon which is mainly responsible for this disease amongst the women. So with these basic points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Take a look at this editorial article. This article talks about the need for deep industrialization in India to achieve sustainable development. See, even though India recovered faster from the pandemic, it is still in the phase of premature deindustrialization. In other words, the rise of industries in India is not in pace with the expansion of economy as a whole. This leaves India no other choice than to rely on service-led growth. But as you all know, we cannot rely solely on the service-led growth for a longer period of time. So, the author suggests to focus on deep industrialization and emphasize the need to prioritize manufacturing alongside the service sector. See, this is the crux of the editorial given here. So in our news article discussion, let us quickly go through some of the important points given in the news article using our mains answer writing discussion. Let me read out the question for you. Discuss the challenges faced by India to evolve as a global manufacturing hub like China. In this context, what are the steps taken to address this issue? See, this question can be asked in GS paper 3 under the syllabus Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, growth, development and employment. See, the key word given here is discuss. So, you are expected to cover different viewpoints, arguments, perspectives related to given subject. So, the first part of the answer, you can write about the challenges faced by India to evolve as a global manufacturing hub. Second part, you can write about the steps taken by India to address the issue. Finally, we are going to give a balanced judgment in the conclusion part. This is how we are going to address this question. Okay, now let us start with the introduction part. Here you can write like this. India is gradually progressing on the road to Industry 4.0. See, it is pursuing various policies like National Manufacturing Policy, which aims to increase the share of manufacturing in GDP to 25% by 2025. Currently, Indian manufacturing industry generating 16 to 17% of Indian GDP in a pre-pandemic years. Moreover, it employs over 27.3 million workers and it has the potential to export goods worth of $1 trillion by 2030. Know that India now has both digital and physical infrastructure to raise the share of manufacturing sector in the economy and to make a realistic bid to be an important player in the global supply chains. But sadly, it faces certain challenges to evolve as a global manufacturing hub. So, here we are going to discuss about some of the challenges in Indian industrial sector. See, this way you can give a connection between introduction and main body of the answer. Moving on to the first part of the answer, here you should write about the challenges faced by India to evolve as a global manufacturing hub. The first hindrance is the need for adequate infrastructure of roads, ports, electricity and similar services. See, India has the world's largest population and it is one of the world's largest economy. But its logistic infrastructure ranks 38 in the world. It is given in the World Bank's Logistic Performance Index. This does not mean the things are not improving. There is improvement, but the pace or speed is not enough. For example, data suggests that India uses about 3% of GDP for infrastructure construction each year. This should be compared with China, which contributes 20% of GDP. We all know that infrastructure is the foundation of any sector, and especially in manufacturing, where big setups are crucial to make the required products. Second hurdle is facing difficulties in land acquisition for setting up the manufacturing hub. See, stringent land acquisition laws and inflexible labor regulation make it difficult for India to attract investors in the manufacturing sector. See, India's benchmark land acquisition law must be amended to make it easier to buy lands for the defense and development projects. See, this is vital for a fast-growing economy, but at the same time, we should also ensure the rights of farmers. The third hurdle, higher compliance burden under the regulations. See, the regulation requires simplification, rationalization, digitalization and decriminalization of minor technical glitches. Fourthly, bureaucratic hurdles. See, in India, there is a little integration between national level policy makers and state and provincial departments that actually enables the factory startups. See, there are at least 7 local departments to go through, including land acquisition, utilities, environmental clearances and labor. We all know that each has its own lengthy application, review and approve process. This bureaucratic maze can be paralyzing. Finally, lack of adequate skilled workforce. See, every year across India, 12 million young Indians enter the employable age. In fact, by 2030, the country is projected to have 1.4 billion working persons in the employable age groups. Despite this huge demographic dividend, India is facing a persistent shortage of skilled and unskilled labor. For example, a report by NSDC or National Skill Development Corporation states that India's skilled labor demand has reached approximately 103 million workers in 2022. However, the supply fell short by a staggering 29 million workers. See, this huge issue needs to be addressed. You can write all these points in the first part of the answer. So, moving on to the second part. Here we have to write about the steps taken by India to address this issue. Firstly, you can write about Make in India initiative. See, it was launched in 2014 to facilitate the investment, foster innovation, building best class infrastructure and to make India a hub for manufacturing, design and innovation. See, it was one of the unique single vocal for local initiative that promoted India's manufacturing domain to the world. We all know Make in India is not the state, district or city specific initiative, rather it is implemented across the country. Secondly, industrial corridor development programming. See, in order to accelerate the growth in manufacturing, government has adopted the strategy of developing the industrial corridors in partnership with state governments. The objective of this project is to develop greenfield industrial regions with sustainable infrastructure and make available plug-and-play infrastructure at the plot level. As a part of it, 11 industrial corridors are developed in 4 phases. Thirdly, launch of National Single Window System. See, it's a digital platform for the guidance of investors to identify and apply for the approvals as per the business requirement. The platform is built to serve as an advisory tool to identify approvals based on user input and it is constantly used for guidance purposes. Fourthly, National Logistic Policy was launched to lower the cost of logistics and lead it at par with the other developed nations. Finally, Production Linked Incentive Scheme is given for 14 key sectors to encourage foreign companies to find workforce in the country and to encourage the domestic and local production. See, you can write all these points in the second part of the answer. Some of the other initiatives are also given here. You can go through it. Finally, you can end by saying that Even though India faces significant challenges in evolving into a global manufacturing hub, concrete efforts have been made to address those obstacles and bolster India's manufacturing competitiveness. Additionally, collaboration with other international partners, strategic trade policies, proactive government interventions, and fostering a conducive business environment are all being made. See, all these steps will further contribute to India's endeavor to position itself as a prominent player in the global manufacturing landscape. While challenges persist, these initiatives signify India's commitment to leveraging its vast potential and inherent strength to emerge as a formidable force in the global manufacturing. See, this can be your introduction. With this, we have completed this discussion. In our discussion, in the first part, we saw about the various challenges to India's manufacturing sector, and in the second part, we saw about the various schemes of Government of India to address those obstacles. So with this learned points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this article. The article is about the recently tested High Altitude Pseudo Satellite Vehicle or HAPS by the National Aerospace Laboratories. The author says that this is not just a drone but more than that. Okay, with this background, let us see some important features of the HAPS from our prelims perspective. Firstly, it flies at an altitude nearly double that of a commercial aircrafts, which means it's operating in a space where the skies are clear of other traffic so that it can see a large area of our Earth's surface. Secondly, HAPS are solar powered, allowing them to stay in the air for extended period. See, we are talking about months or even years. This endurance is thanks to the abundant sunlight which is available at those altitudes, which powers the vehicle and its system. Thirdly, operating HAPS is much cheaper than launching and maintaining a satellite. While it offers many satellite-like benefits such as surveillance, monitoring and communication services, it does not come with a hefty price tag of space missions. Fourthly, this technology is the cutting-edge one and is currently developed by a few countries, which includes India, China, South Korea and United Kingdom. See, India's recent successful test flight of HAPS puts it in a unique club of nations which is exploring at this high altitude advantage. Moreover, for India, HAPS could be a game changer for border surveillance and monitoring. In situations where natural disasters damage the ground-based communication networks, HAPS could quickly provide mobile communication services in those affected areas. This is about HAPS. With this, we shall also note a few points about National Aerospace Laboratories or NAL. See, NAL is a leading aerospace research institution based on Bangalore. Know that it's a part of CSIR or Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. We know that CSIR is an umbrella organization which includes various research organizations across India. Now, let us see some of the key functions of NAL. Firstly, NAL specializes in researching, developing and testing various aerospace technologies. This includes everything from aircraft to unmanned aerial vehicles and other aerospace systems. Secondly, it's a hub for innovation in aerospace and it works on cutting-edge technologies that can contribute to the advancements in aviation, space exploration and defense capabilities. See, this is all about the discussion. In our discussion, we saw about two important areas like UAV HAPS and in the second part, we saw about National Aerospace Laboratories. With this learned points, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this data point article. This article highlights the various concerning trends in the functioning of Indian Parliament. It has data which are very specific to the current Parliament, that is 17th Lok Sabha. The article also explains the broader decline in the parliamentary efficiency over the past 3 decades. See, let us see them one by one. Note that this article is not very particularly useful for our prelims exams, but it is indispensable in mains answer writing. Okay, now let us go to the discussion. The first thing which is mentioned in the article is lack of deputy speaker in the current Lok Sabha. See, the 17th Lok Sabha was the first one to not appoint a deputy speaker. This move would impact the balance and effectiveness of the parliamentary proceedings. Secondly, there was a low number of sittings. See, the 17th Lok Sabha recorded the lowest number of sittings, limiting the scope for debates and reducing the participation of MPs. Before 1990, each Lok Sabha typically convened for over 550 days, spanning over 3,500 hours. Post 1990, an average Lok Sabha meet only for 345 days, spanning less than 1,800 hours. See, the 17th Lok Sabha had the least number of sittings, that is only 274 sittings. The third point is legislation amid the suspension of opposition. See, various significant legislations, including the criminal reform bills, were passed when over 70% of the opposition MPs were suspended. See, this raised concerns about the fair representation and democratic processes. Fourthly, decline in the bill scrutiny. See, the number of bills which were sent to the parliamentary standing committees for scrutiny has consistently declined, with the 17th Lok Sabha sending only 16% bills for scrutiny. Note that this is the lowest in the past 4 Lok Sabhas. Fifthly, diminishing the opportunities for debate. See, there was a decline in the number of sitting hours and hours in Lok Sabha, which we discussed in the first point. This in turn limits the opportunities for debates, discussion and participation of MPs. The Prime Minister answered only one question in writing and has not answered any questions in an oral manner. Sixthly, there was a reduced use of parliamentary tools. See, various parliamentary tools such as half-an-hour discussion, short duration discussion, calling attention motion, adjournment motion, which will allow the MPs to execute the accountability of the executives. See, this has significantly declined post 1990. Half-an-hour discussions reduced from 88 per Lok Sabha in pre-1990 era to only 1 in the 17 Lok Sabha. Short duration discussion decreased from 46 per Lok Sabha in the pre-1990 to 13 in current Lok Sabha. Calling attention motions also declined from 300 to only 1 in the current Lok Sabha, and also adjournment motion reduced significantly, with none allowed in the 16th and 17th Lok Sabha respectively. Seventhly, less time for budgetary discussions. See, there has been a substantial decline in the time allotted for discussing the union budget, ministry-wise demands and the finance bill, etc. The time spent on discussing the union budget and financial bill decreased from around 120 hours annually before 1990 to 35 hours post 1990. The ministry-wise demands were passed without discussion for only 5 times since 1952, and moreover know an important fact that ministry-wise demands were passed without discussion for only 5 times since 1952, and shocking fact is all 5 were done after 1999. And finally, the article suggests that the scholars and experts have identified this trend and there is a call for urgent parliamentary reforms. Know that the establishment of a parliamentary reforms commission has been proposed to address this issue and restore the efficacy of the parliamentary procedures and practices. See, overall, the article emphasizes the need for immediate attention and reforms to address the declining standards in the parliamentary functions of India. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about various data points regarding the parliamentary functioning of India. See, note all of these points and revise it often so that you can write in your GS2 answer. With this, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. This news article discusses the challenges India faces with its WTO members in relation to the India's food security program. Experts say that if India fails to achieve a permanent solution on public stockholdings of food grains, it will face a huge backlash in the upcoming 13th Ministerial Conference in Abu Dhabi this month. See, this is the crux of the article. With this background, we shall understand about WTO and peace clause from the prelims perspective. Firstly, with respect to WTO. See, WTO or World Trade Organization is the only global international organization that deals with the rules of trade between the nations. See, it was established in 1995 as a successor to the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade (GATT). Note that WTO has 164 members including the European Union, and it has 23 observer governments like Iran, Iraq, Bhutan, Libya, etc. Note an important point that India is a founding member of WTO. Now let us see the governance structure of WTO. The topmost decision-making body of the WTO is the Ministerial Conference, which usually meets every 2 years. See, the General Council is the WTO's highest level decision-making body that meets regularly. Although WTO is not a UN specialized agency, it has maintained strong relations with the United Nations. Now let us see the working of it. It works to reduce the barriers like trade, tariff and quotas on goods from other countries. This makes the products less expensive to make and buy, giving people more option and reduce the cost of living. When countries disagree on trade, WTO helps to resolve those disputes. This keeps the trade to flow smoothly and maintain peace and stability in the international relations. See, this is all about WTO. Let us see the second topic of the day, that is peace clause in WTO. See, the peace clause is a provision that temporarily allows the country to exceed the agreed limit on agricultural subsidies without facing any legal action by the other members of WTO. Know that this clause was a temporary measure which is agreed upon in the 2013 Bali Ministerial Conference. This clause is particularly important for developing countries. Because they need to support their small-scale farmers and ensure food security in their nations. See, India was the first country to invoke the peace clause for breaching the subsidy limit for rice in the year 2018-19. However, major agricultural exporters like Brazil, Australia, Canada argue that India's subsidy program, particularly for rice, is too heavily subsidized and it affects the food security of other nations. So, we need to wait and watch what happens in the upcoming ministerial meeting. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, in the first part, we saw about the basics of WTO, and in the second part, we saw about peace clause from the prelims perspective. With this basic understanding, let us conclude this discussion and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this front page article. Yesterday, farmers from Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh began their farmers' protest 2.0 by marching towards Delhi. See, we all know about farmers' protests that happened in 2020-21. Then, their demand was to repeal the 3 farm laws which were then passed by the Indian Parliament in September 2020. Since consensus could not be met between the government and the farmers, the 3 laws were repealed subsequently. Now, once again, farmers on Delhi Chalo with their demand for the legal guarantee for minimum support price for their produce. See, the government already provides MSP on agricultural produce, but the farmers want a law that guarantees it. See, this is the crux of the article. So, in the discussion, let us understand some prelims related facts about minimum support price or MSP. Firstly, what is MSP? See, the price of the agricultural commodities often vary due to various factors in our country. If a crop has seen a good harvest during a particular year, but sadly, it may see a sharp fall in the prices in the very next year. So, fall in prices means lesser profit for the farmers. This subsequently makes the farmers not to sow the particular crop in the next year, which will again affect the supply. So, to counter these issues, MSP is fixed by the government, which is supposed to encourage higher investments and production of crops. To put it simply, minimum support price is the minimum price set by the government for certain agricultural products, at which the products would be directly brought from the farmers if the open market prices are less than the cost which is incurred by the farmer. So from this itself we can infer that MSP is a form of governmental intervention, and this governmental intervention is to ensure the farmers against a steep decline in the price of the good and to help them to prevent their losses. See, this is as simple as that. Now let us see who decides this price. See, the government of India sets the MSP twice a year prior to the sowing seasons. That is, one for Rabi season and other for Kharif season. When the market price falls below the declared MSP, the government would purchase the entire quantity from the farmers at MSP. Here, the key point is that MSPs are declared during the sowing season. See, this will help the investors to make a planned investment into the crop. Another important thing is, Commission for Agricultural Cost and Produce or CACP recommends MSP for certain crops. See, it is an attached office of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. The CACP considers various factors to determine the prices before making its recommendation to the government. Here in this image, I have given some of the important determinants of MSP which is being considered by CACP. See, in this image, it's like cost of production, changes in the input prices, input-output price parity, trends in the market prices, demand and supply, etc. Now, let us see the crops which are being covered under MSP. Know that government announces minimum support price or MSP for the 22 mandated crops and fair and remunerative price FRP for sugarcane. See, among these 22 crops, 14 belongs to Kharif season, 6 belongs to Rabi season and 2 other belongs to commercial crops. Here, I have given the list of the crops. Please go through it and revise it often. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the basics of a minimum support price from the prelims perspective. This is all about the discussion. With this, let us move on to the next part of our video, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today, I am having 4 questions. I will solve 3 of them and 1 will be a quiz question for you to solve. Let us get into questions. See the first question. Consider the following statements regarding the autoimmune diseases. See the first statement. The cyst RNA involved in silencing the gene expression on the inactivated chromosome is expressed in both males and females. See, this statement is incorrect because in our discussion we have seen that cyst RNA is expressed only in the cells with 2 X chromosomes, that is only in female cells. So the first statement is wrong. See the second statement. Women are more susceptible to the autoimmune diseases than men. See, this is correct as we have seen in our discussion. See the third statement. A molecular coating found on the X chromosome is thought to play a significant role in the higher incidence of diseases among the women. See, this is also correct as we have seen in our discussion. Here, note that how many of the statements are not correct is asked. So the statement 1 alone is not correct. So the correct option is option A. See the second question. Consider the following statements about the high altitude pseudo satellite vehicles, HAPS. See the first statement. HAPS operate at altitudes comparable to the commercial aircrafts. See, statement 1 is incorrect because HAPS operate at altitudes nearly double that of the commercial airplanes. So the statement 1 is incorrect. See the second one. HAPS is exclusively solar powered, enabling it to remain airborne for extended period ranging from months to year. See, statement 2 is correct. See the third one. The HAPS technology is primarily intended for the high altitude geological surveys exclusively. See, this is incorrect because HAPS technology had a broad range of applications like surveillance, monitoring, communication, etc. So the statement 2 alone is correct. So the correct option is option A. See the third question of the day. Consider the following statements about the World Trade Organization. First statement, the WTO was established in 1995 as a successor to the GATT or General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. See, the statement 1 is correct. See the second one. India has never invoked the peace clause provided by WTO. See, second statement is incorrect because India has invoked the peace clause notably for its rice subsidy program in 2018-19. So the second statement is incorrect. See the third one. The peace clause allows the country to exceed the agreed subsidy limits on agricultural production without facing legal challenge. See, this is correct as we have seen in our discussion. So the statement 2 alone is incorrect. So the correct option is option B. The quiz question based on today's discussion is displayed here. Interested aspirants can comment the correct option in the comment section. Moreover, I will post it in the community section also, so you can go and answer there also. The mains question based on today's discussion is also posted here. Interested aspirants can write and get back to us in the comment section. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.